Hello everybody, welcome to the Manifold channel. Today we're going to look at doing rotated views, which is creating cartographic presentations that are rotated so that instead of north being up, as it is in the classic Mercator or pseudo-Mercator projection, the view can be rotated so that north is at a different location. And we're going to use a map of Italy, and we're going to do that in Manifold Viewer. Manifold Viewer, as you probably know, is the free read-only version of Manifold System Release 9. And we're going to do it in Viewer just to show that you can use Viewer to do this. So you can use Release 9 as well. What we're looking at here is this map that we've created. And what we've done is we've dragged and dropped a Bing Street Maps layer into the map. A map takes its projection from the first layer that's dragged and dropped into it. So if we look at the, what the projection is here, we see that it's a pseudo-Mercator, which is exactly what most web projections use. And that means north is up in this display. I'm going to drag and drop a map of Italy, which is a vector map of Italy, into the as a layer into this map. And this is something that I've created and styled earlier. We've styled it so that the various provinces of Italy are different colors. The original data comes from Natural Earth. It's a free download, so you can download it from there. What we're going to do is we're going to create a rotated display, another map where instead of Italy being at an angle like this, is going to be more or less horizontal, the boot of Italy. Now, the way we're going to start doing that is we're going to create save the current location. And the location just gives us a handy way of getting back to this view anytime that we want. Locations also, if we double click on them to open them, store the location in plain garden variety JSON text. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to alt click this, and I'm just basically using this as a notepad to see what the center of the view is that I've defined. So when you want to create a rotated view, start by composing a map that has all the different layers that you want in it and the particular view that you'd like as kind of your center area of interest. Then create a location for it, which is what we've just done. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this map. Maps are containers. They don't actually contain any data. They just contain a reference to, say, Italy and the other components, the other layers that are in it, which actually contain all the data. And to copy this map, I'm going to copy and then paste it. And I'm going to rename this map. Let's slow double click that. Let's call this rotated map. And if I double click it open, we see that it opens zoom to fit for all of Bing. And let's use this location. Let's zoom to that location. So now we see the same view as before. To change this up a bit, I'm going to turn off the Bing layer so that we don't confuse the rotated map from the regular map, so we know what we're looking at. And here I'm also going to use the layers pane. We don't need this anymore. Let's use the layers pane here to change the background of this to a light gray like that. So that gives us even more visual differentiation from the two different maps. Actually, I do need the location again. So let's pop that open again and let's resize it because I want to be able to read off the latitude and longitude. Because what comes next now, I'm going to change the projection of this rotated map. How easy is it to to rotate a map? It's very easy. Click here to edit the coordinate system. Coordinate system is a synonym for projection and manifold. The two terms are used interchangeably. And I'm going to change this name to rotated view. Let's call it rotated Italy Hatin. And that's how you pronounce that word if you've never heard it pronounced before. That's the name of the famous Hatin oblique Mercator projection, which is the projection that she used for creating rotated views. And we're going to take the latitude here, which is 42, and the longitude, which is 13. We can just read them off from right there. The centerline azimuth we're going to leave at 0. And the rectified grid, because we want to rotate this counterclockwise by 45 degrees, is minus 45. Basically, whatever rotation angle you want for the view, you put here into the rectified grid value. And minus numbers are counterclockwise, plus values are clockwise. So we want to go minus 45 degrees counterclockwise. And you know, it's that simple. There's just nothing more complicated to it than doing that, clicking OK. And here let's right click and drag to zoom in. Tinker a bit to get the size that we want. And there's a view of Italy that's rotated. I'm going to save that as a location as well. We'll call that location rotated. so we can get back to this view anytime we want. And if we compare what we're looking at here, here's the map, and here's the rotated view. Any layers in this are also automatically rotated. So for example, there's the Bing Street Maps layer that I had turned off. As you can see, not only are the vector layers rotated, but also raster layers are rotated, be they images or be they generated by web servers. Turn that off, and to keep the display uncluttered. So basically, in less than 5 minutes, we've seen how to do rotated views. It's very simply just use the Hatin projection. It's named, by the way, after Brigadier General Martin Hatin, who was the one of the great men of the British Ordnance Survey in the 1930s and onwards, a genius of mathematical geodesy. Okay, let's do one more thing while we're out of here. Let's create a north arrow, because everybody wants to see north arrows in their rotated views. And the way we do that is we right-click here and choose New Drawing, and we're going to call that new drawing North Arrow, for lack of a better name. That's a pretty obvious name. And let's drag and drop that North Arrow drawing into here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line, and I'm going to create a vertical line from about here. Oops, let's not do that. Let's click from here to right about there. Click again. I'm going to try to line this up so it's pretty vertical. But it doesn't matter if I get it dead vertical or not, because we can always, right here in the Coordinates tab, edit these coordinates here on the fly. Control-A to select all, Control-C, and then Control-A here, Control-V. If the two coordinates were different, we could make them the same by copying and pasting between the two. And these two coordinates are the, let's see, longitude values, so that's the x value. So if you make these two the same, it's a perfectly vertical line. Click Add Record, and we just created a line. Now we'd like to make that, let's go back here to default, we'd like to make that look more like a line. So let's style that using the Style pane. And we'll click in here. I'll do this quickly. Change that to 4 points. I don't want that to be too dark a line, so instead we'll make it a oh great, about like that value gray. And let's put an arrowhead at the end of it. Click End symbol. Click that for the arrowhead. Let's make that about 600% width. And we'll make that a stroke of 4. And the width here at 50%, which gives it kind of like a nice pointy arrow looking type deal. Click OK. And there we've created something that looks like a north arrow. Alright, let's go here to the rotated map. And as you can see here, we don't have that north arrow layer yet. So let's drag and drop that into the map. And that too is rotated as we expected it to be. I personally like to add some sort of a symbolism here that indicates this is a north arrow. And maybe let's move this a little bit farther away from Italy. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to click on Style Transform. And in the geom we're going to do a shift. And let's shift that one about to there. Click Update Field, and we've just shifted the whole thing. So now, if we go back into the rotated view, we see that the north arrow is a little bit offset a little bit better. Okay, let's go back to work. And one reason I like to keep two maps here is that it's easier sometimes to work in the non-rotated view to get everything squared up the way you want, and then switch to the rotated view when you like. It costs absolutely nothing to create an extra map, because a map is just a window. It's a pointer to other data. Maps don't actually store any data. For example, this map right here takes data from the Italy component in the Italy table, but it doesn't actually save any of that in the map. So we could create 1,000 maps and not increase the size of the project at all. They're all just telling Manifold how to display something. So for example, here in the rotated view, if we look at Italy, and here in the contents component, we see that Italy is in latitude and longitude, and this rotated map window is just telling Manifold to display that using the Hatin projection. Bing Maps is in Pseudo-Mercator, if we look at what that later is, and there too the rotated map window is telling Manifold to display that in the Hatin projection. It's doing all this reprojection on the fly. And the amazing thing is you can have gigabytes of data, and Manifold will do that reprojection basically instantaneously. You can pan and zoom effortlessly without without worrying about it, because that's the nature of parallel software. Okay, back to tricks here. We're going to put a little label here that's called north, and the way we're going to do that is by adding a point. Create a point. Snapping is on by default, so we'll click to create a point there. Click Add Record, and now we just created a point. Go back here to default. Let's open the table for that north arrow. And we're going to add a text field to the table. Call it text. And we'll make that a an nvar char type. Click add. Add again. Ooh, invalid name. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? It could be that it's not letting me do this because I'm doing this in, no, it should let me do that. Okay, let's click nvar character, add. And now let's click OK. There we go. Amazing how this works when you follow the instructions correctly. I've just added a field called text, and here I'm going to add in the text just the single letter N. Alright, and we don't need that anymore. And now here what I will do in the map, I'm going to right click on north and create new labels, and we're going to call that the N label. And for the text field we're going to use text. I'm going to create labels, and now I'm going to drag that label in here, and you can see we just created a little thing called letter N, which is right on top of that point. And to make that more visible, let's style that text layer. For starters, I'm going to change the font here to Nunito. No, we don't have Nunito. Well, let's use Arial. And Arial, we use bold. And here, let's style this so that we'll use a box. The box we're going to make the same color. Use the color picker here. The same color as that. Color picker. Color pick from there. So now the entire box is that color. The padding is going to be 1 point. We're going to make the font white in color. And we're going to make the font 10 points in size. That looks pretty cool, so let's click OK. And there we've created a label, which is a round label in a box that's N. And if we go here to the rotated map, we can drag and drop that north label in. It completely covers up the point if we move it upwards in the stack. And there, that's a pretty cool label. If we like, we can use other labels that we've created. For example, I have another project that I created here, and let's use this label. This is a collection of north arrows and labels that I've created before. I'm going to click copy. I'm going to come here and click paste. And now let's turn these off. And what I'll do is I'll drag and drop this north arrow. You can see that's a different style and a different north label there, and that creates that style label. Some people prefer that effect better. And we can do the same thing here as well. Let's turn off Bing because it's annoying. And turn these guys off, and north arrow 2 and north label 2 there. Or drag and drop that there. Okay, one last thing which we're going to do here is I know we're running kind of over here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on Italy and create labels. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this field called name to create those labels. Drag and drop the Italy labels in. I'm going to show how labels are rotated or not rotated. Let's clean those labels up a bit. And let's make them white. Oops, click on white, and let's give them a little itty bitty halo here of 0.5 point. Click OK. There, and that gives us some nice labels that stand out. And let's see what happens when we drag and drop those labels into the rotated map. Italy labels, drag and drop here, and what do we got? What do we have? I'll put these next to Italy on this side. And as you can see, the labels are not rotated because the labels are something they're created so that they're always horizontal, at least when they're created in this way. If the labels were created against a line, then the label would be rotated to match the line, because the line labels are aligned to lines. But in this case, these are just plain garden variety labels. So as you can see, even though the text is rotated, even if you see the vector parts of Italy are rotated, the text labels are not. We wouldn't want to actually use usually a rotated layer like this, that's this Bing street map image, but we can always do something like a Bing map satellite image. Let's drag and drop that into the map, and that'll fetch the satellite layer from Bing on the fly dynamically. And we can see this all works out remarkably well. And it's taking time to bring in the tiles because it's actually bringing them in from internet. That's not the speed of Manifold. Manifold, of course, is instantaneous. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. We've learned how to create our rotated views. We've created a view of Italy, which is basically aligned this way, so the lengthwise with the boot of Italy. We've learned how to drag and drop north arrows. We can style these in an incredible variety of different ways. So create a very, very, very wide range of visual effects. Manifold, of course, is not quite at the point where it's going to let you drag and drop north arrows that have already been pre-created for you. That's coming in a month or two. At the rate of a few hundred improvements every month, Manifold is evolving very, very rapidly, and that, of course, goes for Manifold Viewer. We've done all this in the free viewer just to show that you can do it in the free viewer. If you like, download a copy of Viewer. Viewer is absolutely free. You don't have to register by email or anything like that. There's absolutely no advertising in it. There's no attempt to upsell to try to get you to buy something. There's no nagging or requests for donations or anything like that. It's just, and it never times out. You can just use Viewer for however long you like, for whatever purpose you like, absolutely for free. Viewer, of course, is read-only, so this cool project that we've created we can save. If you want to create projects like this and save them, you can do that in Manifold Release 9. But we can do things in Viewer, for example, like Alt Print Screen to do a screenshot of this and then paste that into our favorite editor, like Photoshop or GIMP or whatever it is that we want to use, to create absolutely spectacular images for use on websites or for use in publications. So, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Goodbye from Manifold Land. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.